Okay, so I want to look at these questions here for grade 7 to 9. That is some more questions that we want to solve. So the first question is saying that a test is made up of 20 questions. How many questions are you to answer to get a score of 80%? So we have 20 questions. So the 20 questions in terms of percentage is the same as 100%. So 20 questions, that's the total number of questions. So in terms of percentage, we have 20 questions being the same as 100%. Then they are saying we should look for the number of questions that you need to answer to get a score of 80%. So 80%, the equivalent number of questions. So obviously that will be less. That will require less. So if less, more device, you have 80% on 100% times 20 questions. And so if less, more divide. So that here percentage cancel percentage, zero cancel zero, zero cancel zero. So you get 8 times 2, which is 16 questions. 16 questions, meaning that you need to answer 16 questions so that you get 80%. Okay. Then the next question is about change of subjects and substitution. So you have been given 2x minus 3y. They are saying that we should find the expression when we have x to be 5, 1 on 5, then y to be negative 1 on 2. So we have 2. We have x to be, that is 1 on 5, then 3. Y to be negative 1 on 2. So 2 by this, it means that the 2 multiply only the 1, we get 2 on 5 minus. Now this negative and negative will give you addition. So the 3 will multiply the 1 there. So we have 3 times 1, which is 3. So negative times negative will give you positive. Then we have 3, 1, 3, then on 2. On 2 here. So we find the LCM to be 10. Now, then you can use a cross multiplication method. So we have 2 times 2, which is 4. Then 5, 3, 50. So 2, 5, 10. Then we have 2 by 2. That is what? 4. Then we have 5 by 3, 15. So your answer will be 19 on 10, which is the same as 1.9. 1.9. So that's change of subject and substitution. Okay, so we are still looking at the mock questions here. So the next question we have Okay, so we are solving some more questions, and this is the next question that we have. Find the perimeter of the rectangle. You can see that the length is there and the width is also here. Then you evaluate the set if root 5 is equal to 10. So when you look at it, to find the perimeter, that is for question 3 here. The perimeter, you can use the formula or you just add the set given. So we have this to be the same, that's the length, the opposite side are the same. So we're having 2 root 2 plus 2 root 2. So meaning what is here will be the same as what is here. Then we have the width. Also we have 3 root 3 plus the same thing here. 3 root 3. Okay. So since the set are the same, that is root 2, you add the numbers attached to it, so you get 2 plus which is 4 root 2. Then here also we have the same root number, so therefore you add the numbers attached to them. That is 3 plus 3, that is what? 6. So 6 root 3. Then add the centimeters to it. Okay. Then the next question. They are saying 2 root 5 by 6 minus 2 root 5. So with this, you multiply 2 roots 5 by 6. Only the numbers can multiply. So we have 2 6, that is 12 root 5. Then, so we are tied the root 5. So 2 by 6 is what? 12. Then we use 2 root 5 to multiply 2 root 5. So here, positive by negative is negative. Now 2 by 2, that is what? 4. Now root 5 by root 5 will give you root of 25. So here you have 12 root 5 by here to be 4. Root of 25 will give you 5. You have 12 root 5 by this 20. But the question says that you evaluate it when root 5 is equal to 10. So we have 12 by 10 minus 20. 12 by 10, that's 120 minus 20, giving us 100. Giving us 100. Okay. So that gave us 100 here. Now the next question. Okay, so said a straight line passes through the point M, that is -2, 5, and end 1, 11. Find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line. So with this one, to find the equation, you need to first find the gradient. So we find the gradient. We are given M to be -2, 5, and N 1, 11. So you can label this one x1, y1, x2, y2. So your gradient, which is the slope, will be M equal to y2 minus y1 on x2 minus x1. So here, the gradient will be y2 is 11 minus y1, that is 5, on x2, that is 1, minus x1 is -2. So meaning that this 11 minus 5 will give us 6 on 1 minus -2. That will be 1 plus 2, that is 3. So obviously we get 6 on 3, that is 2. So that's for the gradient. Then we continue to solve for the equation. The equation we can use y is equal to mx plus c. That is the formula for finding the equation. So we have the values here. We can use the first point. Then we move. So y is equal to, the gradient is 2. So you replace it plus what? C. Then we can find the constant c by using the point M, which is -2 by your x here y. So your y is 5 equals 2. Then you have the x to be -2 plus c. So you substitute the first point into it to get what? The constant c. So here you get 5 equal this -4 plus 6. Then you transfer this one, you get this is 5 plus 4 equals c. So c is equal to 9. Then you place it into the, you put it into the relation to get the complete. So we have y is equal to 2x, and now c is what? 9. C is 9. Okay. Now the next question. Okay. So we have this question. It says solve for x if angles, that is x, this is the x, y, z. Then we have the a, b, c are complementary angles. If they are complementary angles, so how do you go by that? So with this one, you have, if they are complementary angles, it means that they sum up to 90 degrees. They sum up to 90 degrees. Okay, so you have x on 2 plus x on 4 equals 90 degrees. Right, so with this one, the LCM is 4. So we have 4 times x on 2, 4 times x on 4, and this will give you 4 times 90 degrees. So here 1, here 2, 4 cancel 4, that's 1. So we are having 2x plus, this will give us x, that's 1x. Then 4, 9, 36, so 3, 60 degrees. So here you get 3x equals 360. Then divide through by the coefficients. So this is here 1, here 1, 20 degrees. So x is equal to 120 degrees. 120 degrees. Okay. We're back again.